Welcome to the deep dive. So today, we're opening up a set of financial parables that are almost 100 years old, but they point us back, what, 6 millennia?
That's right. We're heading to ancient Babylon. And not for the kings or the battles, but for these timeless laws of personal finance.
And our source for this is really interesting. It's a set of pamphlets from 1926 by George S. Clason.
It's a phenomenal source. He created these incredible stories, all set in the cradle of civilization. And the most striking thing about Babylon itself is a paradox of it.
All right, you'd expect the richest city in the ancient world to be sitting on, I don't know, a gold mine or something.
But it wasn't. It was built on an arid plain. It had basically nothing. Just soil and the river Euphrates. Its massive wealth wasn't about luck. It was because the people there understood the rules of money.
And that's our mission for this deep dive, right? To pull out those core secrets. We're looking at people like Banseer, the chariot maker.
And Kabi, the musician. These are hardworking guys who are just constantly broke.
And they go to this central figure, Arkad, who's known as the richest man in Babylon.
And Arkad's whole premise is that wealth isn't chance. It's not magic. It's just a set of principles that anyone can learn and apply.
Okay, so let's get into his first step, the one that really seemed to shock his students into action.
This is, I think, probably the most powerful wealth-building concept ever. Arkad's big breakthrough was when he realized, and I'm quoting here, "I found the road to wealth when I decided to keep a part of everything I earned."
It sounds so simple, almost too simple, but it's the biggest hurdle, isn't it?
It is. He called it the first remedy for an empty purse. If you earn 10 coins, you have to keep one.
The 110th rule.
Exactly. He noticed that most people pay everyone else first. They pay the baker, the sandal maker, the landlord, but they never, ever pay themselves. He said they were basically working to make everyone else rich.
The source material has a great analogy here. It's not just savings, it's a seed.
That's the magic of it. That one coin is the seed for your tree of wealth. You plant it, and you have to keep watering it with more coins. If you spend that first seed, well, the tree never even starts to grow.
But there's a strange part here. Arkad says when he started keeping his 1/10, money actually started to come to him more easily. That sounds a little mystical.
It does, but I think it's psychological. When you commit to keeping that 10%, two things happen. First, you're forced to be more careful with the other 9/10.
So your budgeting just naturally gets better.
Right. And second, and this is the key part, when you know you're building something for the future, your mind sharpens. You start looking for opportunities because you actually have capital. You value your own labor more.
So paying yourself first isn't just a transaction, it's a commitment that changes your focus.
Precisely. You shift from just consuming to generating.
Okay, so you've got your 10% saved. The next hurdle is, well, the other 90%. Arkad's second principle is all about the trap of desires.
And this is just timeless human nature, isn't it? The source says, necessary expenses will always grow to become equal to our income.
It's lifestyle creep. The reason someone making $50,000 a year can feel just as broke as someone making $200,000.
And Arkad says you have to be absolutely ruthless about distinguishing your needs from your wants, which he says are a great multitude that can never all be satisfied.
So the plan is, save your 10%, but then actively budget the other 90 so your expenses don't just expand to fill the space.
A very hard look, yeah. And this discipline is crucial when we get to the topic of debt. For that, we turn to the story of Banseer, the camel merchant.
Ah, yes. The story from the clay tablets.
Exactly. Banseer provides this really concrete three-part plan for getting out of crushing debt.
Let's break that down.
Okay, so first, 1/10, that's 10%, is separated and kept. That's for you, non-negotiable.
You pay yourself first, even when you're in debt.
Even then. Second, 7/10 or 70% is for your family and basic living costs.
And that stops you from going deeper into debt.
Right. It stops the bleeding. And then the final 2/10, 20%, is divided honestly and reasonably among everyone you owe money to.
And that 20% shows real commitment. But it also required something else, didn't it? It required integrity.
It really did. Banseer had to face his creditors. He couldn't hide anymore. And he found that, yeah, a few of them complained.
Like Alka had, the landlord.
Right. But most of them actually appreciated the honest plan. They knew they'd get their money back eventually.
So financial recovery is as much about self-respect as it is about the numbers.
Absolutely. The moment he had a plan, he wasn't a slave to his situation anymore. He was in control.
Okay, so moving from managing money to growing it. The third principle is about multiplying your income-prudent investment.
This is where real wealth comes from. That saved treasure has to be put to work to reproduce itself like cotton in the fields.
I love that line. Your money becomes a golden slave that works for you. And its children and grandchildren work for you too.
It's the ancient definition of compounding returns. They totally got it.
But the very next principle, the fourth, is like a huge warning label. Safety first.
It is the highest law of investment. Protect your principal. You have to fight that romantic desire to make quick fortune.
And Arkad learned this the hard way, didn't he? This is the famous potter and the goldsmith story.
An essential lesson. Arkad gave his life savings to Asmur, the potter who was traveling. He was supposed to buy jewels.
But Asmur is a potter. What does he know about jewels?
Nothing. He got tricked and came back with a bag of worthless glass beads. Arkad lost everything.
Ouch. What was the takeaway from that?
It was painfully clear. Ask a goldsmith about jewelry. Ask a shepherd about sheep. You get advice from people who are experts in that specific field.
That one mistake really highlights 2 of the 5 laws of gold, the ones about avoiding loss.
Yes. The 4th law says gold flees the man who invests in things he doesn't understand. And the 5th law is a check on greed. Gold escapes you if you try to force impossible gains or trust fraudsters.
I mean, that is timeless advice. That could save you from a crypto scam today just as easily as it saved them from buying worthless glass.
The principles of prudence just haven't changed, not one bit.
Okay, so let's look beyond just making money to protecting it. The 6th principle.
This is about securing the future, planning for old age when you can't earn as much, and protecting your family from tragedy. And it's all about consistency.
Like Anson the shoemaker.
Exactly. He saved just 2 silver coins a week, a tiny amount. But over 8 years, it became a substantial sum that secured his family's future.
It's the original retirement plan. Small, regular deposits are way more powerful than big, sporadic ones.
Consistency is king. They were thinking generations ahead.
And finally, the 7th principle brings us back to personal effort. It's about increasing your ability to earn in the first place.
Right. You have to seek knowledge, study your craft, become more skillful. The texts are very clear that people who always try to get better at what they do are always richly rewarded.
And it seems like they circle back to psychology here, too. They talk about the biggest enemy to success.
And it's not bad luck, it's procrastination. They say success requires an unbending purpose to just get things done. Davosier's whole story started the moment he stopped putting it off and just faced his problems.
There's also that bit about your attitude toward work itself.
Oh, yeah. The wise slave Megiddo says, treat your work as a friend, learn to like it. That shift in mindset from dreading your work to embracing it, that's what drives your earning power up.
This has been really comprehensive. So to wrap up, let's synthesize this whole ancient plan for someone listening today.
I mean, the plan is still incredibly clear. First, pay yourself 10%, always. Second, control your spending so you live on 70%.
Third, if you have debt, dedicate 20% to attacking it with integrity.
And fourth, invest that saved 10% wisely. Talk to the goldsmiths, not the potters.
And the final piece of evidence that this actually works across thousands of years, it comes from a letter written in 1936.
Yeah, this letter from Professor Alfred Shrewsbury. He wrote that Davosier's ancient plan, 70% expenses, 20% debt, 10% saving, is exactly what solved his crushing modern-day debt. He paid everything off and started investing.
That's just incredible. It proves the entire premise.
It proves that these ideas are so vital that they rose from the ruins of Babylon 5,000 years later, just as true as the day they were written.
So the ultimate lesson from the richest city of antiquity really comes down to one thing.
Action. They say action will lead you to the success you so greatly desire.
So a final thought for you to consider. How much of your life is spent planning or maybe just procrastinating about your financial future versus how much is spent taking determined, systematic action right now?
Act and obtain success like a free man.